Welcome. I'm Rich Indies, sales engineer here at Telestream. Thank you for joining me today. I want to take a quick look at the new auto grouping functionality in the Vantage TrafficManager services. These new features will be found in the Syndicate action, which is the primary location for processing metadata that comes with national syndication, as well as working with self-generated metadata for local productions. We're also going to take a quick look at a new action in the 8.0 Update Pack 2 called Lookup. For this example, we're going to look at a couple of shows that have arrived through Extreme Reach syndication services. These utilize the BXF portion of the catch action and the BXF processing in the syndicate action. We start with the traditional catch action here. We're going to bring in the media file and the BXF as we generate some starting variables in the system. Following that are the deeper media analysis, the audio channel mapping instructions to provide proper 5.1 or down mixes if necessary for playout systems down the line. And then proxy and thumbnail generation for working with this program and with this content in our syndication portal. Now, before we move to registering and storing the show in a Vantage catalog, we're going to do two special things. First is this new lookup action right here. This action allows you to make a series of variable comparisons in order to create new output variables. In this case, we're using this to help generate an internal show prefix for a playout system down the line. To accomplish this, we're going to ask the lookup action to read the incoming variable containing the show name, and then return to us a variable representing the house prefix to use in automation and playout. To generate the instructions for this, the lookup action uses a supplied CSV file to find the appropriate match. This is a short example, but as you can see, the first value on each line is the show name as it comes from Extreme Reach. Well, the second value is the internal house prefix we've chosen to use for these shows. So when I feed the lookup action a variable of King of Queens Weekend 1, I will get back an output variable of KQWP. The lookup action has a few other options to keep in mind as well. The CSV file can be located anywhere accessible via normal Windows drives or UNC mapping. So you can put this on a shared drive if you're in a multi-node environment. And you can do standard Windows access control over that to prevent inadvertent changes to the file. There is also a test button. This allows you to pull up and run a test against this CSV file as part of designing a workflow or making sure things operate correctly, or if you just want to manually look real quick and see, hey, did I configure this correctly with the right prefix that I want or the right resulting value? So in this case, Seinfeld second run, SEIS is my response. And then there are also some options for how to deal with what happens if no match is found, giving you the flexibility to stop a workflow via a failure, or simply move the workflow forward using, say, the original input variable as the output, or to pass, say, a blank result if you want to. In this case, since we're looking for this idea of to provide an automated method as part of handling syndication, the expectation is that each show would have an internal prefix. So we leave this set to failure. That allows us to alert someone that a prefix needs to be provided before retrying this show. Now that we have our prefix, we're going to do a compute and construct, do a little variable work to generate a text version of a date and put that on the end of that prefix. So we'll go ahead and have a full title now for our show. Then we're going to move on here to the syndicate function, and this is where we're going to actually process the information from that BXF, bringing it in through the BXF function. And we're going to make sure we have enable automated ingest turned on as part of this. This provides us access to the range of tools we'll need to make some intelligent decisions regarding the provided show information. For our clip title, so this is the value now of that prefix with the date we've put on the end of it. So we're going to go ahead and use those constructed values, put it on clip title here. This will be used to provide clip information for the segments, and we'll also use it later in terms of naming our actual deliverable assets. For our two main processes in our automated functions, we'll first set the options down here in the acceptance patterns. This is where you pick what material you consider to be included when sending the resulting show metadata to third-party automation and playout. In this case, we're looking to handle traditional barter shows. So what we want are program segments and ad segments. Things like local content, slates, and other non-content material will be flagged as omitted and not included in the final segment data when sent to automation. So now that we've picked what segments we want to actually keep and use, we can enable the segment grouping options and decide what do we want to do with them. First option up here is called contiguous segment grouping. This is, you might know this more as local to local or black to black segmentation. So this is where you're taking full chunks of program and barter together as you prep the shows to send to play out in automation. The second option is by segment type. This allows the grouping of content to separate, to create like separate program and barter segments for those automation environments where that's desirable. Due to the complexity of segmenting by type, you'll see there are a few more options down here that can be set and a few more details to controlling how this particular content is grouped by this action. Once you've completed the configuration and this action runs, the resulting syndication information can be accessed in the portal system for review, check timing, things like that. It can also be passed directly, as I have set up here with a forward action, to our delivery workflow. This delivery workflow uses the generated internal house identifier that we came up with via the lookup action and the date construction in our ingest workflows. We're going to use that to name the outgoing file and the accompanying output BXF that goes with it. This will line up the information with the internal records within the BXF file so that everything matches appropriately going into the automation system. So as you can see, if I go to my output directory, you'll see as I have my two shows, both of them have been appropriately named via what we generated for internal prefixes with the lookup tool, and then the date we appended to the end of it. Inside these BXFs, then, each of the segments will also correspond to the same naming scheme because we use the clip title information as part of our syndicate function. This setup is also compatible with any of our other multi-segment notifiers. So if, say, you were needing to write to an ASDB database rather than use a BXF file, all of this information is applicable in the same fashion. The automate functions that support multi-segment will, of course, support any generated syndication files, be they from the portal or through an automated function. For providing final prep in Vantage, or things like larger multi-site workflows, circumstances where maybe media segmentation is necessary, those kinds of functions, all of this auto grouping can be used within the Vantage syndication portal as well. We, on our ingest workflow, have done this process of applying these grouping rules. And as you'll see, I already now have a show. As soon as I bring it down, we see that some of this has been applied already. Here you can see where the clip title we derived as that custom prefix and date. From the lookup action in our computes and constructs has been put on the segments automatically. You can also see how this bounding box for this group of commercials has been put together already, showing that this is now reflecting as a single barter segment. From here, the traditional syndication portal functions of QCing the segmentation, double checking your mark in and mark out points, and all those last fine tuning details can take place, and then the file can be submitted for processing and distribution. So whether going for a fully automated workflow or just looking to speed up the process of preparing content in the portals, auto grouping is a very powerful new feature in the Vantage ecosystem, along with the accompanying lookup tool to provide customized naming in a controlled and automated fashion. Thank you for joining me for this quick tour of auto grouping and lookup. For more information on these tools, the overall Traffic Manager environment, or what else is new in Vantage in general, as well as what's going on with Telestream, please reach out to your Telestream representative or visit us at telestream.net. Thank you very much.